Hello and welcome back to the High Performance Nursing Podcast with the Graduate Nurse Success Series. I'm very excited today to talk to you about being mature aged, or as I like to put it, seasoned human, right? So let's talk about why being mature aged is your superpower and why there is so much misinformation out there around age and being mature aged as a student nurse, EN, RN, and why I actively choose not to believe any of it to be true. Let's dive in. Alrighty. So the first thing I want to talk about is some of the myths that you've probably heard. So you've probably heard a lot of misinformation online, in the industry, and on your placements in the hospital setting, right? And a lot of it comes down to this whole idea that, like, if you are somebody that's not 21, you're mature aged, and that you are too old, quote unquote, too old to be joining the industry, and that it's just going to be so much harder for you to get your dream job. And that, you know, panels, they really do favor the young nurses because they're just easily influenced and easily molded. And, you know, they can't be bothered taking anybody that's got their own opinions and yada, yada, yada. Are you feeling me? Have you heard this? Have you even maybe thought this or believed this to be true? Hopefully today I can give you some behind the scenes perspectives and some optional thoughts for you to carry forwards that will hopefully influence your beliefs about your ability to succeed. Because you, my friend, have a unique superpower, and it is life. Life experience, transferability of skill, maturity, commitment to your work, resilience, all of the things. Whether you agree or not, it is there. And that is your unique superpower. That is what sets you apart from the other people that are applying. Now, let me address these myths before I dive in. This idea of being too old, right? Like, too old for what? Who says I'm too old? Obviously, you don't believe that to be true because you're training and you're killing it and you're doing the work. Amazing. Remember, saying I'm too old or hearing other people saying you're too old to do something is their problem. If you internalize that and absorb that as your own belief, then that's your problem to deal with, and we've got to work through that so that when you go to the interview, you're not sitting there thinking, oh my God, everybody in the room is like 12 and I'm 40. What am I doing here? You know, am I in the right place? Am I going to be disadvantaged? Okay? Because remember, our thoughts create our results. So we don't want to introduce any of these thoughts into our brain that are not going to serve us and move us towards our goals. Now, I hear a lot of people say the panels want youngins. They want that's what we'd say in Scotland, youngins. We want the young folks to come in because they're really easily influenced, you know, they're coachable and moldable, and they haven't really stepped into the world of life yet. You know, they're still quite early in their career. But I mean, I disagree. The generations coming up now, they like know what they want. They're super clear. They are, you know, sitting in a place where they're like, hold on a minute. No, I'm not putting up with this. They're resistant. Okay. All of these things are amazing, by the way. I love all of them, but it's not factually true that everybody is the same, number one. And it's not factually true that panels like young people. I've sat on a lot of panels and I have never ever heard ageism come into the conversation. Never. Not even subtly. And I've seen a lot of posts online recently. This is what triggered this. And I've been meaning to do one of these. I've had lots of messages about doing a mature aged student podcast. So I wanted to do it. But I've seen a lot of messages online where people really buy into this narrative. And they're so triggered by it. And they really believe that young people are being secretly like they have more advantages over people that have more years on them. I don't understand that method or logic of thinking. I don't believe that to be factually true. Most people in the industry that are in senior positions are older. Isn't that evidence there to prove that it's maybe the opposite? I'm not here to debate that or discuss that today, but I want you to start getting curious about this. I, for one, have never sat on a panel. I've sat on panels for grads, right up to CNCs and NUMs. I have never heard age being brought into the mix. There's never been a subtle little conversation off to the side like, oh, they look a little old. Doesn't happen, okay? We're not allowed to do that. And we also, on the other end of the spectrum, don't go, well, they're just too young. I mean, I've probably maybe heard that version more than I've heard they're too old. Never, ever have I heard that. So here's the thing. People will always tell you that one time that somebody said something like that. And those people will, or it's like a bad restaurant review, right? You go to 50 good restaurants, how many people do you tell? You go to one bad restaurant, how many people do you tell? There's been evidence to prove that you tell more people when you have a negative experience. So just keep that in mind, okay? Same with our patients when they come in, they have a negative experience, they got to tell more people about it. Most people don't say, I had a beautiful time in the wards. No, they'll tell you all the bad things. Yeah, so now that we've covered a couple of those myths, I want to dive into why being mature aged is like the thing you need to be screaming from the rooftops to show the panel why you're perfect for this job, okay? So number one, it is literally your superpower. Why? Because you have developed life and professional career experience. This is not your first rodeo. This is not your first job. And employers like that. They especially like looking at applications, even in this day and age, looking for consistency and commitment and growth, right? So if you're somebody that's had lots of work, lots of jobs, that's not a bad thing at all. I've had over 15 frigging jobs and I don't consider myself mature age. So it's what you make that mean. And trust me, the panels, they look for consistency, they look for commitment, but if you are a mature age, seasoned human being, you will have that through your work history. So that is the first thing. It is great. It is your superpower. I want you to start thinking about it in a way that it serves you, because it's what will set you apart from the person who is 20, 21, who's applying and they've worked at Macadis, which again, by the way, is incredible. But I'm helping all of you on the spectrum of the human experience and the age spectrum to see what really makes you unique and different. And you all are unique and different. The second thing that I want to talk about is the transferability of your skills. I don't care whether you're 21 and you worked at McDonald's and whether you're 50 and you've worked in legal and law firms for your whole life. I don't care what that is. Your job is to find the transferability in those skills. People often say to me, but my work is so far removed from nursing. No, it's not. Every job requires you to communicate. Every job requires you to use some form of IT. Every job is about building rapport and connection and networking and troubleshooting and problem solving. All of those things are nursing 101. That's what we do day to day, right? So I want you to really get curious and think about the transferability of your skills. And this again is what will set you apart as a mature age student, that will make you more employable, more appealing, more irresistible to the employer. So have a look at what you've done in your life up until this point and think about, how can I communicate this in an empowering way that shows how I can bring all of this over. Now, one big mistake, there's a top tip, I'm sidetracking here, that most mature aged seasoned humans complicate their applications with is adding everything, putting everything in there, like every course you've done, every description of every role that you've done, all of the things, because you think all of it's important. And that's something that we dive into deeper in the GCLP, because it's really important that we look at, if you've got 15, 20 years experience, we want to then be really critical about what we put in that 2 to 3 page resume to sing and sell your skill set, okay? Making sure that we're not wasting space with things that are not transferable and relevant, okay? So that's transferability. It is your point of difference, and it's something that you should lead with. Okay, and the reason why is because I mentioned earlier, it's about maturity, it's about that mental and emotional resilience, right? It's about just exposure to trials and tribulations, and we've all had our fair share of that, right? But the more years you have, the more you've seen, the more you've done. So I think it's really important to acknowledge that, and also bring in any of your personal experiences in the hospital, community, private sector, aged care setting, to help influence how you communicate and sell yourself as you move forward. So really looking at it as a strength instead of a weakness, okay? And of course, you're bringing all of those life skills with you, right? It's not like when you become a nurse at 50 that you forget the 30 other years of work experience that you have. You're bringing all of those things. So the employer is going to benefit from that. It's like an added bonus. I want you to think about it like this. Yeah, I'm a nurse, I've done my 3 years, I'm here, I've had my placements, I've done my 1,000 hours, I'm ready to rock and roll. But FYI, I also have all of this other experience. And this is where mature-aged, seasoned human beings then move forward, and they tend to progress a little quicker if that's what they want in their career. For example, I worked with a nurse a couple of years ago. She was a graduate nurse. She came in, she thought to herself, this is another myth, by the way. She thought, I've got to come in, I've got to put in my 5 years, I've got to do X, Y, and Z, and then I'll finally get there and I can do this. And I said, no, who's told you that? It's rubbish. Who told you that? Let's have a look at your skills and let's see what we can do. So she was at the end of her graduate year. She had spent 15 years working as a carer in disability nursing, and we saw it and we went, oh my God, why don't you apply for the senior role? You've got 16 years of healthcare experience, not just one, okay? And whether or not like your job previously, like prior to nursing, directly relates, it doesn't matter. Think about it through that lens, right? We work with a lot of people that are moving industry from like hairdressing, vet nursing. Maybe we've had a couple of people from real estate. We've had people from law firms. We've had, it escapes me now, of like flight attendants, right? Amazing. Over 20 years experience in customer service. Boom. That's incredible experience for a graduate nurse, because the panel are going to know that you can look after people with your eyes closed. You're just adding the layer of nursing to it, right? You've already got these amazing foundational blocks that maybe other people don't have. So really lean into that transferability of life skills that you're bringing along and start telling a story from that empowered place, rather than telling it from a place where you are lacking, right? Or that there's a disadvantage. Because in every way, shape and form, I see more advantages than disadvantages. It all depends on the way that you look at it, right? So what can you guys be doing moving forward? Now that we've covered the myths and we've covered the reasons why, and they're just a couple of the reasons why you're fabulous, and you need to really lean into that fabulousness to move forward as a mature-aged, seasoned human being. What can you do? So, number one, you've got to clear out your brain. You've got to clear out your mind. You've got to really get curious of the thoughts that you are practicing believing about your age. I want to put it out there. Age is just a number. I know people say that, and people say it's really easy for you to say, Liam, but age is literally just a number. It's just a number. There are people that are like 90 that feel 12. Like, it's just a number. It literally is just a measure that we made up at some point in time. So don't make that mean anything about you. Don't make that mean that you are less than or incapable or disadvantaged or it's going to be harder. Yeah, maybe things do take a little longer to learn. Maybe you are a little slower than you used to be. That's just part of being human, right? It doesn't mean that you're not capable. It doesn't mean that you can't, right? It means that you just got to lean into it and really get curious about the stories you tell yourself about your age. I was the other end of the spectrum. When I first started, I was playing small because I kept telling myself, I'm too young. I'm too young. I'm too young. I'm too young to do this. I shouldn't apply for that postgrad. I'm too young. I need more time. I need more experience. Because the industry was reflecting that to me. And people tell me that I was too young. You don't have enough life experience, Liam. And at the time, I believed it to be true. And I was like, hold on a minute. You don't even know who I am. Jane, John, you don't know who I am. You don't know what I've been doing my whole life. You don't know what traumas I've gone through. You don't know what I've been tackling since I was friggin' 9. Right? People don't know. Only you know. So you get to decide what you make that mean. And once I shed that skin and I stopped telling myself I'm too young and I can't do this, I propelled myself forward. I was like, my age has got nothing to do with that. I was an incredible nurse unit manager at 28. I think I was great. And I had great feedback. Age is just a number. Okay, I want you to really lean into that and see it for what it is. Age is just a neutral circumstance in your life. It's just a thing. It's just a number. That's it. Nothing more to it. Unless you make it a problem, okay? So we're clearing up our thinking. I want you to start building belief in the reasons why you are incredible and why they should hire you. Because here's what happens. Lots of people will collect all of the reasons why they won't be hired, but they do not even tease their brain a little bit with all of the reasons why they might. So if you are someone that is not allowing yourself to think of all the ways in which you might be hired, that is your homework this week. I want you to find all the reasons why. Grab a bit of paper. It's not rocket science. Write it all down and just like write at the top all the reasons why I would be or could be or should be hired. And then just fill that whole page. Challenge your brain to find all the reasons why. Because your brain will always find all of the reasons why you can't. Why? Because it's a safety mechanism. It's how we're designed. to stay safe, stay comfortable. If we keep choosing to believe that we're going to be disadvantaged, then in the future, when we do get disadvantaged and we don't get the job, your brain's going to be like, I told you so. I told you. It's your age. It's never going to work, right? But the opposite is true. You've got to find that in your brain. You've got to consciously create that for yourself. And then the last thing that I want you to do here is really think about how can you sell your skill set to the panel. I want you to, again, list out all of the reasons why you're fabulous and amazing, and all of the things that you bring that make you unique. All of the transferability, all of the life lessons, all of the experiences that you bring that are just going to compound the reasons why the panel should hire you. It's not enough in this day and age to just say, I've got a 3-year degree and I'm a nurse, right? You have so much more than that. See how you can combine it all together and show them why you are perfect. Make it impossible for them to say no. Make it impossible for them to say no. And you do that by showing them very clearly why everything you've done up until this point, even if it's totally left field, even if you were a circus clown in Cirque du Soleil for 20 years and now you're becoming a nurse, there are things that you can take from that show them why you'd be amazing. Think about it. Connection, performance, ability to communicate through your nonverbal and verbal communication, right? Building therapeutic rapport with a whole audience of 300 people. You can definitely do that with one person, with 6 people. Connection to family and relatives, connection to the team, the culture, the comedy, the jest. I'm just running wild here, but you see what I mean. There are so many things that you possess that you might not be seeing. Sometimes it's hard for us to see them. And that you want to uncover in this process so that when you apply, you're going to blow the socks off, okay? If you are a mature-aged, seasoned, beautiful human being and you want all the help to come and make this happen, come and join us in the GCLP. We would love to help you. We have helped many seasoned human beings. I don't like to say mature-aged, seasoned humans join us, and they have come in and we work with them from start to finish, and we help you see what makes you unique and awesome, and we will craft your applications, your CV, your cover letter, your interview questions and examples, and then we will help you build belief in yourself, because the belief is the most important part. The belief is so integral to getting you over the line, because remember, what you believe you create, okay? And the panels will sniff it out. So if you are ready to rock and roll, dive in. We've got lots of programs opening as we move forward into the rest of the year. We will sell out. Our program will fill. And I want to invite you, whether you're a mature age or whether you're not a mature age, come and join us in the GCLP, and let's make your graduate dreams happen in 2023 with all the ease, all the confidence, and rinsing our brain of all of that crap around being too old or being too young. Let's make it happen. We'll see you in the GCLP. Thank you so much for watching the High Performance Nursing Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for all future video notifications. If you want to dive deeper into this work, please come and join us in the High Performance Nursing membership. All the links are in the comments below. We would love to see you there and help you thrive within your nursing life, career, and mindset. Let's do this.